Hello and welcome to another episode of Journey of a Joke. This episode is brought to you by Udemy. So thank you so much for coming on board. More about Udemy and how they help you navigate through your professional life by learning new skills at the end of the episode. But before that, welcome to Journey of a Joke, featuring Rahul Subramanian. Cue intro. Hello and welcome to Journey of a Joke. Thank you so much, Rahul Subramanian, for returning once again
Yeah.
after many years.
Thank you, Abish. Thank you for having me. And I think that since you have invited me again, which means I'm still relevant. So that's a good like checkpoint in life, right?
I think more than relevant now, right, Rahul? Like honestly, like earlier when we met for Journey of a Joke, you released your bits. Your bits were popular,
Yeah.
and people were getting to know you through Random Chiggy Bum and with your stand-up.
Correct.
Now, I think you are somebody who, for a stranger, would be like, "Oh, building uncle. Oh, Rahul Subramanian, stand-up comedian. Oh, Rahul Subramanian, who did a crowd work, and now he's doing a crowd work special."
The guy with the major sex appeal.
The guy with the major sex appeal
Yeah.
ke side mein wala. Correct. Because Kumar Varun is the one with the sex appeal.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm more relevant or I think, I think they're more like I have an audience now. I had an audience then, but I think it's a little more, what do you call it? Stronger bond with my audience. So that's great.
Could you tell me what do you mean when you say my audience, considering if compared to before, like the previous season of Journey of a Joke when you had come versus now as of today?
Like let's look at the comedy scene itself. And if you look at one end of the spectrum is Zakir. And if you see Zakir's audience, they love Zakir, they love his comedy, they love the way he presents his stuff. It's like it's like I'm a Zakir fan. They will have they would have posters of Zakir, they will swear by Zakir. That's one extreme. That's the one that you're looking, that's your aim, right? You want an audience who, it doesn't matter, they like your comedy and they're invested in it and they are like emotionally attached at some level. Last time when I came for a Journey of Joke, I think there were people who liked my comedy, but it's just that, hey, Rahul's funny, but you know what? Today we have dinner, so let's not go. But I think there are more people. I will still not say that everyone is like that, but there is an increase in the number of people who would be like, hey, Rahul's performing today, fuck dinner. Let's go and watch. So which means because they're very invested in me. It's like if I like football versus I love Liverpool. It's that, right? So I'm on that journey. So I think there's been a change. So there are a lot of people who would be like, I like Rahul's stand-up comedy. It's my vibe, right?
The Venn diagram of your online audience
Huh.
and the Venn diagram of your live audience, and in the middle is like the online audience who does come for the live events. So have you been able to identify actual people who come regularly for your shows, or is it mostly like online? Someone came, they took photos, and they said, "Hey, we came for your show." You're like, "Oh, wow, this person." Oh, yeah, of course.
I do remember a few of them. I don't do meet and greet because when you do meet and greet, like this registers more. Because when you're on stage, you might not see a lot of people. You might not be able to see them. But if you do meet and greet, you'll be like, "Hey, Paritosh, you came back, man. Wow, I know you came on that show too." But I do recognize people like, "Oh, I've seen you before. You have come to my show before." And plus, they also message me on Instagram saying, "Saw you in 2019, seeing you again in 2020, and now again in 2022." Right? So I know there is an intersection. There's also a set of people who just like my Instagram, who have known me because of the stuff I've done on my Instagram,
Right.
who don't know much about my stand-up / crowd work. And there's also a set of people who know only about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is an intersection also.
So you're converting more online audience into, let's say, your live stand-up audience, and of course, it's a different experience to watch that. Basically, because even with the crowd work material that you put up, the Bangalore recording at TCC
Yeah.
that you had done, that blew up, right? Like, what was your intention behind doing it, shooting it, editing it, releasing it, and how has it been different after?
So I started doing crowd work not because I wanted to do crowd work. I had once Kal Main Udega was done, my new 1 hour was ready in the sense which had to be tried, tested, made into a proper, a smooth show. Grin Revolution does a lot of alt comedy stuff and run by Rohan and Shrimoy. And so they used to do crowd work nights. So I used to go there and do like 10, 15 minutes. It's a lineup. And I remember one of those days after I've done 2 or 3 shows with them, Rohan, Shrima, and we were just talking, and Rohan and Shrima both were like, Rahul, you really enjoy this. We can see it on stage. You love this. And and we love seeing you because it's so it's a joy to watch you like what you're doing. Why don't you do a 1 hour show, like a dedicated show just for crowd work? I was like, how can you do a 1 hour crowd work show? People get bored. It's like, no, you can, you just try it, and we are sure that you will love it. And then I started doing trial shows with them. And there's something very what do you call it, exciting about doing something new, right? So I was in that routine, like, oh yeah, एक special चलो नया show अभी लिख दिया है, I have to start touring and making it better. And then suddenly out of nowhere this crowd work thing came because someone else said you're good at it, or yeah, like you enjoy doing this. And then I started doing that, and then it was fun, right? And then I started doing shows. And then I realized that a lot of people come to watch because no one reads descriptions, right? They just see the photo, and if they like, they come. So people came with an expectation that I'm going to do stand up, even though the name of the show is like Rahul Crowd Work Show or whatever. And then they didn't know. They were very nervous. A lot of them are intimidated. So I thought, and I was enjoying crowd work. I was like, okay, so the best way for me to do is shoot a couple of videos, put it up so that people also know what crowd work is. And my audience knows this is what is there. And then I can do more shows where people can come, with knowing what they're signing up for. That's why I shot those 2 videos. Although, again, these were like promoted as crowd work shows, description, everything. But 70% of the people who came there, they had signed forms at like while entering, because this is going to be recorded. Do you have any problem? If you have problem, then we'll refund. You can go back or whatever. And then people came, and that's when I recorded. My idea was to reach out to my audience, the audience who likes my stuff, right? And that's when I put up. I didn't expect it to blow so much, but it was unique in a way. Not that I'm not the first Indian stand-up comedian to do crowd work. All of us have done crowd work at different points of time, during hosting, during our sets. Some of them have done shows, like Danny. Danny has done full show. He's done marathon shows, and so I'm not the first one. Veer has done crowd work, but I think for my audience, they didn't know what it was, and then they saw that they liked it. Those videos got like a following, in the sense, people who liked, like I was talking about, right? I like his comedy. That got that more than the stand-up videos.
Stand-up videos.
They're like, we like how he's thinking on the feet, how he's spontaneous, or this format is fun.
With crowd work, I think there's very less pretense as opposed to stand-up. I'm not saying yours or in general, but
Yeah.
because you're on your feet, you are like, you could see that you're very, yes ma'am, yes sir,
Yeah.
why don't you, very overtly respectful, so that you don't hurt anyone's sentiment.
Yeah,
You let
can't
them
do
finish their sentence. As soon as they're done, then you would go into the punchlines of it, which
Correct.
in sometimes is a reenactment as a character, which is your typical chamber guy.
Hmm.
Aisa mai marega! It's, you keep doing it because
Shit, I almost heard myself. It is that.
so that happens, and you try to weave in one audience member to other. So the reason is, when I saw that video, I was like, oh, the crowd has a mic. I can see Namit floating around with the monopod trying to record the audience. I know
Yeah.
that this was intentionally recorded to be crowd work captured, as opposed to we're
Yeah.
doing stand-up and crowd work got captured, and I put it up and it blew up. Like this one was like, I want to do, which is one thing I didn't know. Like, where did it come from? This
Yeah.
clarifies it all.
So yeah, that was the aim to like show that this is what crowd work is in whatever the rawest form that we believed at that point of time. Nah, okay. And it's true, man. Like you said, crowd work is a very, it's you're more naked doing a crowd work show than you're doing a stand-up show, which is scripted, pauses, everything. You know the beats, right? Crowd work, you are just backing yourself to be funny spontaneously, which means your real self is going to come out, which means that you need to be more cautious, because your real self is not, I mean, sometimes you don't want your real self to come out, right?
Yeah.
But the only way you can crack good jokes or funny stuff is when you back yourself, which means you should allow your real self. So it's a conundrum in that sense.
Yeah.
You can't hurt other people. You can't think a lot. Then it's not spontaneous. Then a lot of funny things are because at the moment you say it.
Yeah.
You say the same thing again, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So it is that, which is also why it is exciting.
Huh.
Right. and there are two schools of thought. One is crowd work is extremely easy because no prep, nothing, jao, no material. And it might be true for a lot of people. It might be that easy. Second is because I've done crowd work shows, for me, it's extremely, what do you call, exhausting.
Okay.
One crowd work show is twice or thrice as exhausting as doing one stand up show because your mind is constantly alert. It's alert all the time. First 10 minutes, great interaction does not prove anything. Like a stand up, if I'm doing Kal Mein Udega, I know the first 10 minutes I see the reaction, I know, okay, this show is going to be great. Because I know the rest of the jokes. I know ki, oh, you got impressed with Shikhar Dhawan. Wait, Virat Kohli is coming. You know, in that sense, you have your best bits are about to come. Here you have no idea where the next joke is going to come. Will the next person I speak to be as giving as, or will I be able to make the most of it? Yeah. So it's exhausting. So your mind's, it's,
Stand up for you is most like taking a ride on a train where you know these destinations are coming.
yeah.
Different kind of people might connect or get on the train at that point in time or get off. As opposed to your crowd work is more like surfing. It's completely dependent on the waves that day and how you ride it. So
Yeah.
it's twice as much effort that it takes.
For me, it is. So I'll specify, I want to categorically say, for me, it's tougher.
Okay.
I can't, like, for some people it might not be, but for me clearly, and I discovered this when I started doing a lot of crowd work. That's when I realized that it's way more exhausting than I thought, and the more crowd work you do, the more difficult it gets. First of all, if you need to get good at crowd work, you need to do a lot of it. Okay, that's there. But once you reach that, there's one point where you've done like, okay, I've done a lot of crowd work shows. Then what happens is that as a person, there are only so many angles you can come up with at a given point of time, right? So if I'm talking to you and then I'm like, hey, what do you do? And you say, whatever we talk about. We talk about relationship, we talk about anything. Say we talk about work, right? We talk about your work. And then I realize, okay, you're an IT engineer, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I have had like 15 such conversations with 10 different angles. In my head, there is no new angle that I come up with. Even though for you, that angle might be new because you're interacting with me for the first time in a crowd work show. I realize, I'm done. I'm saturated. I have no new points. I have no new direction to take it. And the more you do, at every point of this conversation, there are at least, you can actually go back. Like there is a pointer, like you can go back. From here, this is an angle that you have taken already. I'm like, no, I can't take this angle. And then you realize that there's.
Do you limit yourself from going to an angle that has worked before?
Yeah.
Why is that so?
Because that's the fun of it. Then it's the whole point of this is it's spontaneous. I should not know. Like not only the audience, even I should not know where the next joke is coming from. That's when it lands, it is amazing. It's just beautiful, right? So that's the fun of it. And a lot of times you do repeat stuff which has happened. Every time I do, I'm like, kyun yaar? Kyun kiya ye? Matlab, that happens.
Yeah.
But this is to train your mind to keep it as fresh as possible.
Okay.
But if you see like 10 crowdwork shows of mine together, you will see a lot of patterns.
Right.
You will see that, okay, this is his
Style.
Now I see, right? So the idea is also not to keep releasing videos which are similar. Yeah. Which also means that at some point, I've reached that point, I need to take a break from crowd work.
Oh, that's great. Like you put up the crowd work video to, let's say, market the fact that you want to do crowd work live shows.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing crowd work for the sake of, I want to be consistent material wise.
Oh, no. I've just released 2 crowd work videos. If you see on YouTube, and it's been like years now, I've not released any. And there is so much. I have so much content. I have like 3 hard disks full of crowd work shows that I've recorded. It's not for that.
Are you ever going to watch all of it, sit down and just do
No, man.
study?
I don't know. So we'll talk about the crowd work special also.
Yeah, of course.
So again, we did so many shows, and this is just like.
Let's jump into it right away, actually. As a matter of fact, the crowd work special that you're working on.
Crowd work special.
And you're going out on a tour now. So by the time the episode comes
the
out, you
US.
might actually be on tour as well. We'll be
Yeah.
in Toronto at the same time. So please get me in to watch the show and plus two more people.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a
You know,
crowdwork show.
it's so weird that Abish is asking. I'll let you know,
Let's
Abish.
just let your people get in touch with my people. Let's coordinate.
Okay, I have one story to share before we go because we're talking about crowd. So I was opening for you in Canvas Love Club. This is like years ago, and I remember because I've seen you host so many times, and you're so comfortable, smooth with it, and. I remember I was hosting for you, and they had all come. It's a packed audience. Everyone had come to see you. This is one of the first times I tried crowd work, and it fell flat on my face
Oh, wow.
because I went on stage, and you know how it is, right? People come to watch. They bought tickets for Abish, so they want to see you, and I'm doing my jokes, whatever. First 5 minutes, they're nice, sweet, and all. After 5 minutes, they're like, "Arey," they're like, "Kab aayega Abish?" types. Okay? So I tried to do some standard jokes. So I just look at the first row. I'm like, I saw a man and a woman together. I'm like, hey, are you guys dating? The standard, you know. Don't have to use your brain. Many comedians have done this right out of the book. Are you guys dating? And she just looked at me with like a little, this is like, fuck, why are you even talking to me? Like, and she was like, no, we are not dating. I was like, oh, is he still trying? Classic, no need, can just move on. And she's like, he's my dad. And I was like, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Abish Max, you everyone. You had no idea because you're backstage. You have no idea what's happening. He's going, hey. Yeah, so that happened. So that was my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea about it. I was like, wow, Rahul must have killed it. I was like, woo!
Yeah.
We have to talk about your special, but before that, every comedian has like, people talk about the voice that they have, like, funny voice. With watching your crowd work where you are more you and Kalme Odega as well, you would see that you have a very, how do I say it? It's a very classy Tapori character.
Like, I like it.
You like
Yeah.
it?
Classy Tapuri. Yeah.
Classy Tapori kind of character. Like, could you imagine, like, the, what do you call, the collar is up. It's got one, like,
Yeah, I'm like a Mr. Tapori.
very, it's very, I would
Here's
say.
my card types, like, but Tapori.
Amir Khan from the movie. Was that movie?
Rangila.
From
No.
Rangila, yeah.
No. Rangila, but the Gajni guy.
The Gajni character.
I mean, the personality of the.
Yeah. Like a bouncer. You look like a club bouncer character in the
Not the Gajni, before he became Gajni. The guy who comes with a like 3-piece suit and stuff.
Yeah.
But Dil Se Rangila.
The Dil Se Rangila character.
yeah.
That's my character breakdown of it.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has different characters that they play. Like, all your comedian, they have that dumb character voice. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This one's yours, which is slightly different because not deprecatory at all. As a matter of fact, this character is superior to Rahul Subramanian. So Rahul Subramanian is here as far as his characters, stand-up or crowd work.
Yeah.
The audience is here, and through respect, you try to bring them to the same power so it doesn't seem like punch down.
Yeah.
But what you do without realizing, what I've seen is that the punchline for everything you want to do while you're interacting as Rahul Subramanian, your audience is the same, is that you play this character, which is a way more way more like a takedown character, but the character doesn't seem aggressive. It just seems to be power dynamically higher. Is that?
I mean, I've not thought so much about this. I know for a fact that I don't like self-deprecation at all. I don't enjoy that as much.
Same.
Sorry, because I don't enjoy, because I feel that in my opinion, the audience looks at any kind of self-depreciation and they think it's okay to be disrespectful, which I don't think is fair. But I also don't think punching down is the way. So I think as long as the intention is conveyed. So for me, it's very simple. So if I am talking to my friends the way I'm talking to them, I can crack jokes on them. I can I know some of those mean jokes on them, but they will never feel it that way because they know me. So with my audience again, although it looks like I'm trying to take the more powerful phrase, my aim is to bring them to my level, and which my level is slightly more elevated than my normal level. So basically, it's not like we are all sweet and nice. We are all like, come on, let's
open,
we're there.
khul ja.
Khul jata hai.
Khul ja, kaisa
So
hai?
which is why they respond also that way. In my crowd works, if you see, in my crowd works, in my crowd working, if you see, even the audience is more they open up. And especially in live shows, I'm not talking about the YouTube videos as
Right,
such.
right.
If you see the live shows now, they open up so much more. But there is also, they also know that, oh, he's a comedian, we are the audience, but it's more friendly in the sense, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't feel like I'm I hope so. It doesn't feel like I'm insulting an audience, because that's never the intention is to have a good time with them. It's not, intention is to also laugh at, if they say something funny, it's be natural. It's, you're no, you know, at that point laugh. Be very natural at that point of time to listen to them more.
It's like a larger podcast of conversation. Like in the video that you put up, because you said it's a marketing piece that you had put up also, there is a point where the audience said something that was so funny that you gave your laugh to.
Yeah.
You applauded and you moved on. You didn't do another takedown, which I was like, nice. I remember watching that. I'm like, nice. Like you, it's not like the audience stole your punchline. The bit worked. You know how comedians have this thing that we ask audience to not interfere a performance.
Yeah.
Right? The crowd work inherently is not a monologue, is a dialogue where hopefully the pattern is question, response, punchline. And then you move on. When you go to a live comedy show, and a lot of comedians, there is this term called working the room and workshopping a joke. That's where a stand-up comedian gets stuck, right? We feel like, hey, this is a joke that I've written. I want to workshop this material and see, it's coming out so beautifully. It's like you and your material.
Yeah.
Workshopping a room is also equally important. That's why when we guys go, we do a little bit of crowd work first, and we slip into material, and then go into a little bit of crowd work, then slip into material.
Yeah.
In this case, do you think there is a balance you need to maintain with the audience they're coming, where they don't become too heckly? Has that ever happened?
It's happened. So I'll tell you, but that's again, it's an evolution, right? Initial stage, the audience is very scared. The first time, like initial times, you're doing crowd work, and that's why I wanted them to be more comfortable. That's how I am on stage. You put up videos, and then they feel more confident. They come, and then you have that dialogue that you're talking about. And see, the problem is when you say, as a comedian, sometimes you would want to take down the audience even if they're saying something funny. That happens when your definition of success of a show is very different from what it is for mine. For me, a show is successful when there is fun. I can be the source of fun. The audience can be the source of fun. It doesn't matter, as long as I'm enabling that. There is a power that the power that I have is I enable the audience to feel in a certain way, so that they can also free up the mind and they can contribute, right? Which will happen only if I decide to. So that's why that's success. So even if audience is cracking something funny, at that point I enjoy it, we laugh. It doesn't matter who has said the joke. I know that I have enabled that by creating that, like, what do you call, favorable atmosphere for, and it doesn't matter who comes. If the audience is saying something funny, that's brilliant. I want that in my show, that you guys also speak, right? So for me, that's success. So it's so ingrained. So I will naturally laugh if someone says something funny, and I will, if they don't say, also the reaction will be very natural.
Right.
There have been also times when the audience member has said something which the person thought is funny, but no one else laughed. And then not just laugh, they started booing the audience member. Then I have to take up that audience member's side, and I'll be like, shut up. Do you guys know how tough it is? There's a reason I'm on stage and you guys are not on stage. Okay, so let him speak. I think you're doing a great job, buddy. And I'll give him I will give that person all the confidence that is required, because I know at that point of time, that's when I have to use my power on stage, right? So there is the use of power should come only when I feel that one audience member or a set of audience members have been looked down upon by other audience members.
Right.
Not when someone is saying something funny, everyone's enjoying it.
Right.
I can't be like, "Arey, the glow, why? It's my glory." It's my glory only. People don't understand that. It's my. If you see, there is a reel that I put up. Recently, you have traveled, ma'am.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Shivani.
Shivani, where did you go?
I went to Kuwait.
क्यों गए थे आप?
Layover पे गई थी.
आप layover करके वापस आ गए?
I went from Lucknow to Kuwait.
हाँ.
Then I was there for about 26 hours. And then I came back to Kochi.
लखनऊ से कोचिन कैसे आते थे और कैसे आते हैं? You guys know a better route. But why did you go वैसे? क्योंकि Amsterdam बंद था क्या?
I had to fly the plane.
You had to fly. You are a pilot. Well
well played. She knew it, she kept it. She was like, enjoy your moment. I was like, timing happened.
I'm like, oh, of course, because what is a better way to go to Cochin from Mumbai? You always go through. And I'm making jokes on that, and then everyone's laughing because I'm making those jokes about how you have to go. And then I ask like, but why did you do it? Why did you go this way? And she's like, because I'm a pilot. And I'm like, I was like,
She played you.
You knew. I'm like, you knew it. Look like well played. I say well played. I'm like, she knew it, but she kept it to herself. No, she was like, okay, let him enjoy. Let him have his moment of fun. And then she was like, this is the right time. And she said it. And that's the video. It went viral, of course. And it's very funny because the whole people are like, how the audience member tricked the comedian.
Comedian, yeah.
Okay, which happened. To be honest, she was she didn't interrupt me. She said, and she just spoke those 3-4 lines, which is brilliant. But for me, that's success of the show. I have enabled that in the sense because there is a whole crowd work show, 30-40 minutes into the show. Everyone is confident. People also feel that, they can also be witty on the show. And I have no problem surrendering to that. That is beautiful, right?
Yeah. That's really...
that's success. I could have easily edited the video and stopped it just after whatever she said and just put my part. Still funny. I come across as... But no, that's not... That's what I want people to do. Crowdwork show is where all of us enjoy together. I am the facilitator. I am the orchestrator. You leave it to me. All you have to do is come with an open mind, have fun, relax, be yourself. That's the point. And then it's supposed to be my skill, my craft to get the best out of you. Right? So to get there was a challenge. Once you get there, you also realize audience also... Once their confidence grows, that's also the other. Yeah.
What is the other end of it?
So this happened. I was doing a show in Good Shepherd. First of all, big mistake. Good Shepherd is 1,000-seater. I was doing a crowdwork show. I didn't realize then. I thought crowdwork show will be fun, but a larger audience, large hall, it's even tougher because everyone is restless. There are so many people who want to speak. Now this is a problem in my crowdwork shows. पहले तो लोग आते थे कि बात ही नहीं करना है. डर के बैठे थे. अभी आते कि मेरे से बात कर. This is another extreme. That's why I have to stop at some point. So I'm talking to this one person. That person, of course, every person is different, and depending on the personality, I have to invest time to try and see if we can have a meaningful conversation. The crowd, the section of a crowd, a young section of a crowd, like college kids, they started heckling that person, and I could visibly see that person is uncomfortable. And that's when I realized that I was losing control because they were heckling, and then slowly the mood of the audience also changed. They were, and I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to handle because I had not got a situation like this. And that's also because I have made them feel so comfortable that they think that they can also. Rahul, stop, yaar, move on to someone else. No one's heckling me. It's my audience. No one's saying, Rahul, you're doing a poor job. They're all like, Arey, yeah, Rahul, we are so sorry you got stuck with this guy.
Go to someone else and talk to someone else.
Yeah, this guy. And then I was like, no, this is not correct. So I took a stand there. I was like, no, I'm going to talk to this person only. I think he has a lot of interesting things to say. And it's very rude of you guys to do that. So that was my tone. So I had to do that. And I kind of lost the audience there. But I was very clear that I can't have this happen. So I still spoke to him. When you're doing crowdwork show in a huge auditorium, people at the back can't see you. Lot of crowdwork videos or lot of crowdwork works not because what I'm saying. That's one part of it. It's about them looking at me and seeing the struggle in my face and then me coming up with something. So expressions make a huge difference. They have to see my face, right? They don't want to see the person who I'm speaking to. That's irrelevant. They want to see me. They want to hear that person's voice. And they have to see me go through the struggle. And they have to see spontaneity happen. If I'm doing a 1,000-seater, I have a screen wherein the camera is on me. So they can see my expressions very close by. And then they can focus on that, which makes a
huge difference. Russell Peters, when he had come to India, I think the many times that he's come, there was this one show he usually has like a DJ on set, and he has two guys on camera on stage, and the camera is focused.
I would
on
love to have a DJ on set, but they won't come. Yeah. Watch this video.
Perfect. And watch this video where Rahul Subramanian talks about the DJ set, which was on Son of Abish season 7 home edition. First guest, Rahul Sub. Woohoo!
2.0. Yeah.
2.0. Glad that these are the two techniques you figured out for the larger audience. But Russell Peter also focuses the camera on the audience that get displayed, cut to his expression. So they are able to do a live. This way of making even the back end of a 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 seater stadium feel as involved.
Correct.
Because you do see the subject and you do see the comedian, and they're able to live switch it.
I don't even think so. It's showing the subject is necessary.
Yeah. In your case, you don't have to. Because
Yeah.
in your case, I think you are able to recite back what was said. Like in general, like that's your style of it.
When you give them a mic,
Hmm.
you should be able to hear them. And that's pretty
That way,
much it.
there's privacy also
Exactly.
kind of maintained.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Tell me about the special that you're working on. And
It's
how you did it.
first of all the special. We've already shot. We did multiple shows, and we have a cut ready, which we are very happy with. When I say we, it's a we. It's not a. Unlike Kal Main Udega, I would have said that it's all me. It's not. I'm the only person. I'm the person who goes on stage and talks to people, and I'm the one who's doing the conversation. But that's 50% of the work. I'm very extremely fortunate to have Biswa as the creative director,
Woo-woo.
which is by far the best thing to ever happen to the show. And Biswa hates all this. So
Tell me how is it that having a comedian as a creative director changes perspective, especially with something like crowdwork,
oh, it's amazing.
which is so personal.
I can't tell you how amazing it is. It's
Okay,
like
next question.
it's
Do try.
I'll tell you. Okay, so there is, first of all, I don't have to have a perspective. That's the best gift by having a creative director who's a comedian. And no disrespect to like other directors out there. For me, it was very important that if I'm doing a crowd work special, if I'm doing a special, and the creative director has to be a comedian because the sensibilities match. A comedian that I resonate with or I have. That's why it was important. So that if someone is taking decisions on the creative front, I don't have to double check. I just trust that person's instinct. And that happens. For me, it was important that person is a comedian. If it's not a comedian, then I'll be like, okay, let me check once more.
Yeah.
I wanted to completely trust someone, right?
Like a comic knows what it takes to be on stage. It knows what it takes to put something out, and the repercussions and the other. It needs to be good to the back of the room, the front of the room, and to every. So it's like somebody. It's like your own reflection.
Correct.
So you would much rather have that instead of having somebody who's a camera specialist directing or like a fiction director directing.
Absolutely. Because there are so many points in the special wherein we are doing a show, excellent interaction in the sense like people can't stop laughing. They're just holding their stomach, falling. And when we go back after the show, I was like, how was it? Wasn't this one's... I think we are making the final cut. And Biswa looked at me and said, you know what? It was great for the room. On video, it won't look good. And we know, and he can make that judgment because he knows what looks good on video.
Could you tell us a little bit more in detail about, because this is a common struggle that everyone has, right? If you're working alone or with another comedian, improv, for example. So many improv shows
Yeah,
you've done.
man.
They are so
Yeah.
good live and you fucking great. You see the video and you're like, oh man, it didn't translate.
It didn't translate.
Stand up does translate because it's just not the vibe of the room, but also the thought that you came up with that makes the audience go, oh, it transcends to screen. Could you tell me about how the process has been with Biswa and with you for your crowdwork special, and how do you translate that to video, or what's missing?
We don't know whether it'll translate. First of all, let's be let me also say that we are trying this for the first time. We have never done it before, but at least at this point of time, we are happy with the decisions that we have taken.
Okay.
Right? All creative calls Biswa has taken, but I'm very happy with the calls that has been taken. There are some things which I would like, "Arey, ye dalte to better hoga." But final call is Biswas, and I'm very happy because that's the whole process. Get a CD if you want to trust the CD. Else, don't get a CD. You be the CD. But there are a lot of things which does not, and we saw that. Saw those things. First, Biswas thought, "Nahi, ye nahi chalega," and we're like, "ठीक है, एक बार video में देख ले." And we saw in the video, and I get it. I got what he was saying. I'll tell you why. Improv doesn't work on camera. I feel because as an audience member, there's too much to focus on.
Okay.
You move from you to that other person to that person, which is okay if it's a scripted or sketch, right? You can have sound effects, you can have a lot of other things to give that. But improv is such a live format show. When there is so much shifting of focus, the audience does not. It doesn't feel they lose perspective and it's not fun, right?
It's like this.
Same way some crowd work bits. Crowd work is little more focused because the camera is on me, right? It's still stand-up work because it's just one person talking. You have to focus only on that person. Crowd work, there are certain interactions which work great in live is when मैं बोल रहा हूँ तुम बोल रहे हो मैं बोल रहा हूँ तुम बोल रहे हो पट 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 पट. It's just like jokes galore, and it's just that people can't stop laughing. But there is so much back and forth, back and forth, back and forth that as an audience viewing on video, you don't get the vibe of that place, and then it's just like too much to focus on, and that loses.
The connection.
Yeah. So, and then we realized, yeah, this doesn't work on camera. What is working is another bit that we did before, which was a much milder, which like a mellow down version of a conversation, but more conversation, like more the conversation going forward. And that looks much better. So things like this, these perspectives. And of course, we learned a lot during the...
Have you tried this? I mean, this, I'm just throwing it out because the entire thing is going to come out in, of course, like 180 or 4K. There's something that happens because we edit so many of, like, you know, Son of Abish, Journey of a Joke, where we have to, there's a lot of like back and forth, and you feel the disconnect from what the audience is feeling.
Yeah.
That's never translated on any of our episodes on Son of a Beast, that the audience is there.
Yeah.
The audience, everyone's like, is that a laugh track? I'm like, no, it's to serve the audience. Everybody else watching right now is a bonus, but this audience needs to have fun. Something strange happened when we were checking an edit. I'm just throwing it out. When we set up our video frame with my frame, the guest frame, the audience frame, and you watch it together, there is a sense of live. So, for example, even in yours, like if the right frame is you and the left frame is a continuous camera of that audience and it's of you, it's completely uncut.
You're talking about a live show?
I'm talking about on an edit for your special. How do you translate the vibe of a room to an edit? Is that every time you see a edit point, right? Like cut to, you take away from that one shot, that live, the element of like, this is happening now. So what I sense when I was watching these edits is that usually you make a mosaic of all the frames and the timeline is running. So you get to choose, you want to focus here or here. There is no cut to. I mean, just as a thing which I wanted to try out, where it's just that the right of the frame is where you get to see me. It's uncut. There is no cut to. This is the one cam and the other one is on you. So for example, his cam and my cam on the edit, I'm just going to do this entire bit right now. We both are visible to the audience. So there is a sense that the audience is really immersed in this conversation because it's not the camera's on me right now. And when you say something, the camera is not going to cut to you. We both are visible at the same time, even though there are two cameras. I don't know. For me, I'd like to
like how
see that
it's like a split screen.
It's like a split screen.
I get it.
But like that gives you the sense of like you can see their reaction even when they're not speaking. Because reaction is what makes you feel like what's happening, how they are reacting to that material.
Yeah. So we have and I think this works. What you're saying makes sense for a format like this. But for a crowd work, what we have, firstly, I think crowd work works because the comedian on stage comes up with something spontaneously. And that's the whole process. It's not a live audience enjoys it because that person sees the person receiving the information, processing it, an idea striking, and then delivering it. This whole thing makes it not just the delivery. It's not if I cut to you saying something and cut directly back to me with the punchline, it's not as much fun. The punchline might still work, but if you see me, so if the focus is on me, like live audience, when they're watching, they're not looking at the person speaking. Most of them, they don't even know. Their whole focus is on me. What I'm asking, what I'm responding. This is what we are trying to replicate by putting the focus on me on the video. And that's when we feel it will get closer to a live show as much as possible. So that's what we are going for. Yeah.
I know that was an reaction I had when I was watching one of the episodes, and I was like, it's interesting to see what that person's reaction is when I was talking about this insight, and they're like, oh, that was interesting. Anyway,
Yeah, because there will be so this is bound to happen. At when I'm saying something, you would also want to like once you've watched me, you've enjoyed that reaction of mine, and you're also like, hey, but I want to see what that person was going through when this reaction was made. Once you have that has registered in your mind, yeah, I want to see how other people. That's gonna happen. We can't. It won't be possible to show all of that. Yeah, but this we think. I'm just like we've seen those the cut so many times we feel that it looks great.
And every time you see the cut, are you feeling like, okay, this has tested out 5 times I've watched it still is funny?
Oh my god! And that's I think a credit to the format itself also. Unlike a stand-up, I've seen my stand-up special. I've seen so many edits. After like the second, third edit, you're bored of it because because on screen I'm being spontaneous. It's not like I'm coming up with and you can see that, right? So this looks, at least we still laugh even after seeing it multiple, and it's not just me, right? There's one more person out there. That person is also being spontaneous because that conversation is happening, right? So the funniness lasts longer as a artist when you watch it, for sure. One more thing which you said, which is something Biswa very strongly believed, which we have been. Biswa is like crowd work is not just editing out itna ki tum sirf funny bolte. That's not how it happens, right? Crowd work is more about you have to see that person go through that journey of finding, struggling, coming up. Both you struggling, both the audience struggling. So he's like He's like I as minimum as cuts as possible.
Nice.
Only if there's something which has to be like it is not in context or something. Say suppose I'm talking to you and suddenly someone interrupts me with something else. That apart from those parts, it has to flow naturally.
Correct.
And that's what we have done. So some of our bits are very long also, but it flows without zero or almost like no edits. And so that way it's going to be very different from the online videos that you've seen.
So this is technically, in a way, one could even say that your special that you're trying to workshop is also redefining the way you view edit.
Yes. Redefining the way I have edited crowdwork videos before,
Right.
and how this is gonna look. And we had a great team, man. A great team. Like Biswa is the creative director. Akshay, know Akshay, of course.
Akshay Pillai.
Akshay Pillai is the technical director, DOP. Sachit, the EP. Yeah, we have Eric as the editor, who's also and Naman was there always. Naman's my manager. So it's been like it's a very small, compact team like your team, right? When it works together, when you have a small team working together on a whole project, you realize how everyone's input it's so huge. Rather than working with just for the shoot with this person, just for the edit with this person, just for the then it's like I have to take all the calls and it's whatever I think, right? So we go through the whole journey. Like I'll give you one example, Bombay show, which happened. And Bombay is the final venue. All right.
Okay. Of course. The final frontier for every comedy special.
Bombay and Bangalore are our favorite venues to perform. The Bombay final show. Now we have roughly 70 minutes of content that we want. And Biswa is like, go all out. Let's get something from this. Like this is RA, and there's no pressure. So 2 shows in Bombay. The first crowdwork show happens. It's amazing. People have loved it. Everyone. Comedians backstage have come and said, dude, this was so great. So you're going to put this part, you're going to put that part. And then, apart from that, we are not excited. Neither me, Biswa, Sachit,
anybody.
Akshay. And we're like, yeah. Because we have moved so far ahead in the process that we see things more than what we're like, those bits are good. But those bits are no different from the ones which we already have. Because we also have to give different... Every bit has to be different.
Correct.
It can't be similar. I'm like, that couple that he spoke to is great. But, the conversation is in the same genre of the other conversation. So it can most probably just replace and exist. It's not adding on to
Okay.
right.
Got it.
I'm so happy the way it looks. I can't like as a comedian. There are two ways you go about a special. Like your reactions. One is like, this special is awesome. I can see it. It's great. I love it. And then it doesn't work or work. Second is pata nahi kya hai. I mean, I hope people like it. I have lost perspective. And then people like it or not. This is not, I hope, I don't know. This is not, it's not one of those cases where I have no idea and then the audience can surprise me either this way or that way. I am so extremely satisfied with how it's looking. Now it's up to the audience. Maybe the audience looks at it and feels like, nahi, ye kya hai? That's fine. But I know at this point of time, I am feeling very, very, very extremely happy with how it's turned out.
Man,
So
I
fingers
think
crossed.
one good learning from this conversation is the fact that you to trust another comedian's vision
Yeah.
of what you tried to do or what you want to do is excellent. For someone like a Biswa, right? Like, if he has an idea and he knows it's good, and if you guys have agreed on it, he'll fight for it to make sure that this is how it's got to be. Because he's a creative director, not technical, not
Correct.
worried about the lighting, not worried about what the frame is. It's just like content wise or like the bit wise, this should have this emotional. Because you're so emotionally involved, you'd be like, yaar, but kya mast naza tha.
Correct.
I would look fucking stellar. Mera baal kitna acha lag raha hai isme and shit like that.
Yeah.
But another comedian whose job is to reduce. All of our jobs is to not just write, is to
Yeah.
remove. And the toughest job sometimes is to remove things. And the best
Absolutely.
person to do that is somebody else with a funny bone, but also somebody else who's done
Can
stand
separate
up
themselves from,
from Ovid.
like the whole, what do you call, narcissistic view that I will have. And you're so right. That's the toughest part. The toughest part was to accept that there will be things which will be removed. And after the first show in Thane, like it was an okay show and like not bad. Came back to the green room and everyone's like, yeah, it's great. And everyone's like, yeah, ye wala acha tha, ye aisa karna hai, ye aisa karna hai. And then Biswa was like, stop. No one gives creative feedback to Rahul. You all have creative feedback, give it to me. I will convey creative feedback to Rahul. So from today, a rule was set. No creative feedback to Rahul. And which makes so much sense because even people with the greatest of intentions, when they come in after show, they judge your mood, and on the basis of that, they want to either make you feel better or they want to try and advise you. All this adds up. I have to go on stage again, not with a prepared set. I have to go with a blank canvas again. So this was again. Only a creative director can see that. Another comedian could see what is happening, see how this is affecting me, and take that call. So it was like done. So there was a wall between me and the rest of the team. No one can give me creative advice. Only Biswa and I will talk creative.
Nice.
Biswa will come and say, these are the creative inputs I have. These are the things that's it. Big difference. So
Big difference. Because you don't get as overwhelmed. Because number one, you put yourself out there exposed.
yeah.
And if you're waiting for that some bit of validation, like I hope it was good, I hope my crew really liked it.
Yeah,
And then you're like, yeah, it was nice, but you could have done that, you could have done that. And you're like, oh shit, it wasn't good enough. And then, so yeah, I think that's a good rule to generally keep also.
Also, ये भी होता ना, Abish, like if my DOP is giving me an advice on, यार ये comedy advice on, ये ऐसा था, ये ऐसा. Part of my brain will also be like, नहीं, actually, I think I know. No disrespect, but I know what is funny, what is not funny, right? But when all of these people give their creative inputs to a person I trust with comedy,
Yeah.
and Biswa can see these are important inputs, and he has his own input, and it comes only from him.
Yeah.
Then there is no second guessing whether this is good advice or bad advice.
Yeah.
These are feedback. These are proper feedback. Oh, it like smoothens the process.
Rahul Subramanian, we had asked audience outside yesterday we put up
बाहर है अभी
हाँ
बाहर है ऑडियंस अभी
हाँ of course ये सब वो सुन रहा है ये सब कुछ
अरे ठीक है
actually Biswa is there and he's telling the audience laughter through me I will convey what is the laughter through me. We got some questions from Instagram from our Abish official account about we told them we're doing a journey for joke. These are some of the questions. Would you like to answer?
Yeah.
Does content get repeated unintentionally in crowd work because of similar people dynamic?
Yeah.
How do you weave around that?
I stop it the moment I see it repeating.
Okay.
But it comes like there are points I can realize because I'm still being spontaneous, but then I'm like, oh shit, I know I'm taking this track because I've done this track sometime before, so I have to consciously stop myself. I can do that much better now.
No.
So it's almost like it won't get repeated.
Yeah.
Like a new trick that I have found out, figured out for myself, right? The problem is it also happens when you're not getting something funny. At some point, your mind will be like, "Arey, theek hai, I've spoken to this person for a minute. No joke has come." And then you're trying desperately. Huh? So at that point of time, you should know this. This is a rule. As long as the story moves ahead, funny will come. Basically the conversation has to go. The story has to move ahead. So at that point of time, it's an internal rule. The moment I feel that there's nothing funny, or the moment I feel that I'm tending to go towards on a track which I've already done, I have to just. The trick is very simple. You don't go for the funny. You just have a conversation. Just allow yourself those 15 seconds of normal conversation. Your mind gets refreshed, and then jokes come. And when the audience is watching it, they're like, "Wow, it's
larger."
Any progress. Audience just likes to see progress. When they see the story is moving forward, they're what do you call engaged in the conversation, even though they're not laughing.
Yeah.
And when they're engaged, and then you find something funny.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it's
Instead of
very-
asking, are you guys dating? How long are you for? The same, you're getting deeper into what makes that
Yeah.
audience member unique as compared to any other audience member you've spoken to. Because everyone's unique.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
ये वाला.
Yeah.
ये वाला डाल दो, लेकिन ये वाला. हाँ, but it's very important that I have to close. I have to tell myself, okay, we're not going for jokes.
Yeah.
I'm just having a conversation. So in a conversation, whatever you will ask naturally, just ask that, or however you'll take this. When I'm not finding something funny, or if I find myself going on a track which I've already gone, the trick is to disconnect myself and have a normal conversation for the next 15 seconds. Take the story forward, so we're in a land which is new and I can't refer to something yet. That's one of the tricks, right?
Perfect.
Rules are absolutely no punching down. How to ensure that there are few basic rules and you have to keep adding, and you have to set these rules beforehand. Only then you can implement, because you're being spontaneous, right? So you only if there are rules which are wired in, even in the spontaneity, you will stop yourself from going there. So which is one, don't make fun of people on the basis of their grammar or their accent, which is, unless it's like if someone's speaking an American accent, it's fine. You know where there's a punching up, punching down, right? Grammar, if any grammatical errors, unless it's a slip of tongue, then you both are having fun. But any grammatical errors, no, don't go there. And it's so like a lot of times spontaneously, that's the first thing that comes to your mind,
yeah.
right? So you have to stop yourself. I overpower at that point of time. Even before the audience starts giggling, I overpower and take them away from that conversation. We have gone ahead with that.
Got it. That's an intentional move ahead. Got it.
Intentional. So it has to be wired.
Then?
Take care. Third, very important for me that after I finish a conversation with someone, it's more important than whether it was funny or not. That person should feel as if that person had a good time. If at some point, that person should not go back home feeling, people laughed at my expense, I didn't enjoy. So it's very important for me that person feels
Got it.
good about it. Third, these are the rules. There is always there in my mind. Third rule is, I can make mistakes. I can say stuff which is not appropriate. That's the, what do you call it? Spontaneity is a double-edged knife.
Double-edged sword in that case, yeah.
You have to back yourself to be spontaneous. You can set rules, but there are sometimes you will say things which is inappropriate. You will say things which you shouldn't have said, which had you thought of with a sound mind, with a rational mind, you wouldn't have said that. That doesn't make you a bad person, but also acknowledge that sometimes you can say things. So whenever that happens, at that point, apologize or whatever, address it at that point of time as genuinely as possible, not trying to be funny. No, don't have to make jokes. It's absolutely okay. And you will be surprised, Abish, how people accept it.
So the audience has still got what they came for.
Yep.
The bonus is what goes to the audience that was there without. Another
Bam.
question that came was, how does it feel when a joke you enjoyed writing doesn't become a hit with the audience?
The stand-up question.
That's the
I've
same.
not done stand-up for a while, and I mean I've done like shows, but yeah, if it
You're
happens,
enjoying this phase of your.
अभी हो गया रे अभीश अभी नहीं अभी है ना वो ही बोला इतना सैच अभी क्राउड वर्क यूएस टूर कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि so many people in US also want to see me do crowd work and $1 is 80 rupees man. So US में मैं I will do the crowd work special show. उसके बाद I want now I like when I started doing crowd work how I was very excited about it's new. Now I'm very excited about stand up. Now I'm very excited about going on stage and just talking. And I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Just listen.
Listen to.
So I'm very excited.
It's like you decompressed your stand up by crowd work, and now you're decompressing your crowd work by doing stand up. Tomorrow you're going to start dancing to decompress on stand up.
No, all the
cooking.
all the small things about stand up which you would not even notice. Now I'm missing all of this. Like how I go on stage, tell a joke, and I see people don't laugh at the points that I wanted them to, and I'm like, how? And then I go back, I go through the set again, I like dissect it, and I'm like, acha, just by changing one here, I'm going to make you laugh at the same joke, and then I go and do it, and just with that they start laughing. You know all those things.
Yes,
So I'm so looking forward to all of
It's
that.
like a scientist working on a chemistry formula,
Yeah.
right? Like one little bit of catalyst here, temperature change, you never know what comes out of it. Oh, I'm so glad you. It's like you kept you away from so long,
Yeah.
but you didn't do not like nothing. You created a like a comedy special around a format and trying to see where that goes, and that's great.
Yep.
What's your advice, Rahul Subramanian's advice for me?
What's my advice for you?
Yeah.
Oh God, this is the worst thing. Worst thing to ask is comedian and advice on anything.
You do that for your entire comedy special with Biswa behind you saying, nobody talk to him, I talk to him, which
Worst
is
thing. Yeah, but this was still doing in a sense, he was part of a project, right?
correct, yeah.
But like one of the worst things is to just ask a comedian for advice because
Yeah.
comedians like talking,
Yeah.
and most of the times they give advice without thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can always call me and say, yeah, I don't believe.
Yeah, or I can just call you later and tell you.
Because I'll tell
Yeah,
you why this question also.
Okay.
Sometimes what happens is if you ask an advice for someone new, it's the same standard one.
Yeah.
If you ask sort of faceless person a standard, here is somebody I would like to hear what you think. And
I have an opinion.
Yes, please.
So it's not an advice. It's an opinion. I really think Abish should not do self-deprecating jokes. That's my big. I don't know if I've told you this. I don't think you should do it because I feel that the audience does not. A lot of time, audience takes that for granted, and they think because you can self-deprecate, they feel they can also do it, which is such a absurd conclusion. It doesn't make any sense, and not just that, it's entitlement on the audience. And I know it should not be on you. People should be, but that happens. So I really feel because then what happens? The more Abish does jokes on himself, people also like Abish. I say, no, why are you? And they're like they don't even try to see the creative genius in so many things that you do. And I think,
I mean, I forget the audience. The worst thing is that when I'm doing a show and the writers are asked to write jokes, they're all writing just jokes that I am saying about myself, which is worse. I'm like, why you say? I'll do that off the cuff. You don't have to script it down to this.
exactly.
Yeah, I guess I need to have a conversation.
That's my only. That's not even advice or suggestion. That's my
opinion,
observation.
which is great. Like this is great.
Yeah, and you should do more improv.
I should do more improv.
You are one of the best improvisers out there.
thank you.
For sure. You own the stage when you go and you give. You're the one person who gives a lot in an improv stage, which is why, but improv में पैसे नहीं है. वही problem. अभी हम करते हैं.
To be good at something that nobody's, there's not much money in.
That's
a
called
great
true
skill.
art.
That's called true art. Welcome to
True
Journey
art.
of a Joke.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you so much, Rahul Subramanian, for coming on Journey of a Joke. Once again, bro, thank you, man. This is
Shout out to Dinkar, Pranav, Lloyd, and Shruti and Devyani.
Canopy Studios.
Canopy Studios.
You can find their website on Canopy
Kamla
Studios.
Mills, Lower Parel.
Kamla Mill, lowerparel.gov.in.uk / new folder. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, this episode of Journey of a Joke. Oh, but before that, my friend
Coffee
Pranav.
hamper.
Pranav has we have a gift for you, Rahul Subramanian. Would you like to read and explain to everybody what is happening?
Damn, I got a Mr. Engineer Market here. Awesome. This is what the gift says. Is it? Oh my God! So it's a coffee press. It's called Aeropress. It's an espresso machine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've been thinking of getting one of this for a long time.
Every time we meet,
This is
you do this
beautiful.
very sweet thing of like you come and ask like, hey, would you? And plus, we also got you some coffee.
Yeah, and we got some great coffee from Coffee Roasters. They better promote, And thank you so much, Abish. I think this is brilliant. This is better than any coffee hamper that Karan Johar gives
Yeah.
on his show.
We thought coffee hampers should have coffee in it. And every time we've met, you've always asked like, hey, Abish, did you bring coffee from home? And I've always felt flattered. And I was just like, oh, that is a nice way. And if you don't know how to use the
I will call
Aeropress
you.
coffee, don't worry. Just watch this episode of Journey of a Joke because now we are cutting to how to make coffee in an Aeropress, especially for you, Rahul Subramanian. If you're watching this, this is how you watch it. For the Aeropress today, we will be doing for Rahul Subramanian, we'll be doing something called the reverse Aeropress. Why don't you come close and cut? First, you clean. Let's make some coffee. Today for Rahul Subramanian, we'll be making not Aeropress, we'll be making something called reverse Aeropress, which brings out the flavor a little bit more. For that, you need an Aeropress machine and a filter. Fun fact about this filter is that if you wash it, you can use it for around 2 to 3 days. You take this, you plug it, you lock it. Perfect. Now, we're also a thermos for Rahul Subramanian, which has been washed, as you can see, with water droplets inside it. Keep it here. Leave it here. Look at the water go. Just look at the water. That's the hardest part of coffee. Now, you pull out your coffee bean. Set timer for 3 minutes. So here's the difference between a regular Aeropress and an inverted Aeropress. Once you put it down like an Aeropress, you just turn yourself around. Because I forgot to make the reverse Aeropress. Now, this is the reverse Aeropress. And now, my favorite part. Yeah. Push. Yeah. Yep. And now the... It's very important to get the coffee fart. In French, they call it coffart. Aeropress coffee. Aeropress coffee. Just doing more steps than instant coffee.
Abish, always known for sweet things, and every time I got, because I came to your house and you made that awesome coffee, and that day we were extremely frustrated. Uruj and I had come to your house because we wanted someone to advise us on things, and you know how frustrated we were. And that point of time, you made coffee, and I was like, Abish, can I have more of it?
Thank you, Rahul Subramanian,
Thank
for
you so much,
coming on
Abish.
the episode of Journey of a Joke. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Make sure you do subscribe to Random Chicken Mum. Also, make sure you check out the special whenever it comes out. He's going out on a tour. So if you're in that country or that city, that means you've done well for your life and career,
Yeah.
and you can afford to pay those dollars and check him out.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe to Journey of Joke podcast for more such wonderful interactions with great guests like Rahul Subramanian. I doubt they can top this one, but yeah, at least they can try and match this one. Guests, please do this outro for me. Okay.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Journey of a Joke with Rahul Subramanian. I thought it was really fascinating how he spoke about him struggling with crowd work in the beginning, but towards the end of it, making an entire crowd work special happen. It just shows that the more you practice, you are able to make your skills better. And with the right kind of instructions, there is nothing to stop you. Just like Udemy, a leading online learning platform that has courses from some of the best instructors giving you flexible, effective skill development. Udemy has courses in nearly anything you'd want in work and in life. There are excellent courses on topics ranging from programming to data science to leadership. There's also a course on stand-up comedy and writing a joke. So do check out Udemy today. My name is Abish Matthew. I'll see you in the next episode.